Alright, this is no way, what's going on? Fractional parts. Before we go any farther with fractions, let's make sure we understand or know the names of what parts of a fraction are. If you have the fraction 3/8, we call the top number of a fraction, Demetra, is the numerator. And the bottom number of the fraction is, Grace? I'm the denominator. Separated by what we like to call the fraction bar. And again, if you think about what does a fraction mean, what is the denominator? What does the denominator do? Morgan?
Tells you how many parts there are to the whole.
Yeah, and usually it's how many equal parts you're cutting something into. How many equal parts you cut something into. Okay, so if you have a circle, if the bottom number is an 8, that means you're slicing that into 8 equal pieces. And then the numerator tells you how many of those pieces you're talking about, or you want, or whatever. How many pieces you have, or don't have, or whatever the question is. Maybe you ate 3/8 of a pizza, that would mean you ate 3/8 of that pizza. That's pretty 6th grade kind of stuff there. And when you run across a word problem that has fraction on there, obviously, even still, for right now, and my goal is eventually you don't have to do this, but it just helps you understand things when you do this. You need to sketch out the problem there. For example, write this problem down. There were 30 questions on the test. There were 30 questions on the test. 1/3 of the questions were true-false. 1/3 were true-false questions. And 2/5 were multiple choice. And 2/5 were multiple choice. Question A is, how many multiple choice questions were there? And question B might ask, how many were true-false? So how do we attack this bad boy here? Again, for right now, Kendall, how you are going to?
Write the fractions out and then change the denominator to the same thing.
I don't think you necessarily have to do that per se. I would maybe just make it 2 different. Multiple choice were what? 1/3? No, 2/5. So if you have your little box like we drew last year, these are all the questions. There's 30 of them, correct? 30 questions. You're cutting that 30 into 5 equal pieces. So each piece, Kendall, is how many?
6.
6. And you have 2 of those 6 out of 2 of those 5 pieces. That means there were 12 multiple choice questions. Same thing for the other one. You have 1/3 of those 30 questions. Well, if you cut 30 into 3 equal pieces, each piece is worth what? Holly? You take 1/3, divide it into 3 equal pieces, each piece is worth 30 divided by 3. A long summer. 30 divided by 3. You have $30 and you're splitting it amongst 3 people. We got what, Ava?
10.
Yeah, 10. We would do it like this, 30 divided by 3 is 10. So, you have one of those 3 pieces, so 10 of them are true false. If I asked you how many questions were neither true, false, nor multiple choice, you would tell me how many. We got 30 questions on this test. 12 of them were multiple choice, 10 of them were true, false. Bailey, we have 8 questions that might be what? Short answer, essay, what else could there be? A, B, C, no, that's multiple choice. Kendall, I'm not so sure. You probably could have found a common denominator with both of them and then just kind of cut it once, but that would be, what is your common denominator there? 15, right? So you'd have what, 5/15ths and 5/15ths and 6/15ths, and then done it probably as one big sort of thing there. But you don't necessarily need to do that in this one. I don't know if that would make your life, could be better or worse, I don't know. And then lastly, let's talk about comparing fractions. Comparing fractions. You can put this on the same piece of paper. 3/6, 3/5, 3/8. 3/6, 3/5, 3/8. 2 ways to compare fractions, ladies and gentlemen. One of them will take you a little longer than the other. You could do like Kendall said and make all of them common denominators. That's going to take you a little longer than the second way. The first way you want to try is to do what? Ashley?
Simplify.
Well, and they already are simplified.
Oh,
You can't change those.
1/6.
The other way to compare fractions is see how they compare to 1/2. That's the first thing you want to do, because if you don't have to change the common denominators, you don't have to. We'll do both and I'll show you what I mean. See how they compare to 1/2. For example, 3/6, I guess this one isn't simplified actually, that one could have been simplified. 3/6 is what? It's the same as 1/2, right? 3/5 greater or less than 1/2. How do I know it's greater than 1/2, Taylor?
Because 5, you can't split into, or because 3 is close to 5.
Because you know that the top number is more than half of the bottom number.
Yeah.
Because if you cut something into 5 pieces, half of it would be like 2.5, well you've got 3. So you know that this one is, I'll use the greater than symbol because you're in 7th grade now. 3/5 is bigger than 1/2. Isn't that mathematical? 3/8, how does it compare to 1/2? It's less than, because half of 8 is 4, and since 3 is, so this is less than 1/2. So automatically now, if I'm arranging that from least to greatest, how would it go? What's the smallest one up there? Alex Muller?
3/8.
3/8 because it's smaller than 1/2. 3/6 is next because it is the same as 1/2. 3/5 is the last because it's bigger than 1/2. Okay, that's the quicker, easier way to do it, but not always will that work. And if it doesn't work, then you gotta go the old school, old-fashioned way and take all of them, 3/6, 3/5, and 3/8, and it's not gonna be pretty, that's why we didn't do it, and try to make common denominators out of them. What is the smallest number that 6, 5, and 8 go into? And this is why we don't really want to do it like this. Ooh, it's a tough one there. Later on, we'll get to an easier way to figure that out, but anybody know what it is? Best way when you're given 3 numbers, start with the biggest one and think of the multiples and see when you come up with one that'll fit both of those. So if you go 8, 16, 24, 5 doesn't go to 24, 32, 32, 40, 6 doesn't go into 40, 48, 5 doesn't go into 56, so we got 64, 72, 6 goes into 72, but 5 doesn't. 80?
No.
Yes.
No, because 6 times
Oh.
15 is 90. 88, 96, 101, no wait, 104, 112, 120.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
8 times what is 120?
Oh.
16.
15, I believe. 3 times 15 is 45. 5 times what is 120? 24, I'll tell you that. 3 times 24 is 72. 6 times what is 120? 20. 3 times 6, 20 is 60. So there, this is 45, this is 60, that's 72. So that would be the order that you arrange when you really don't want to have to go there. So this should be your first. Do this one first, and if that doesn't work, then you can go to the really hard way. That would get it there. So, yeah. So think the book's primarily going to have you do this, so that really should be your first avenue of excitement.